Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you all my backstage secrets to a gorgeous black smoky eye. This is my beautiful model Chanel, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is prep her skin. I'm going to use the Fix Plus Magic Radiance by MAC, so this is a new product of theirs and it's got vitamin C in it as well, so it just really helps to hydrate the skin and even out the moisture levels, and that's just sunk straight in. I'm going to be using one of my favorite moisturizers. This is the Dermalogica Skin Smoothing Cream. So this just gives you the best texture for prepping skin. And I'm just going to use a little flat brush. So Chanel has amazing skin already, and I really want that to be part of the feature as well for this look. It is going to be quite a heavy smoky eye, so I also want the skin to be slightly pared back for a more editorial feel. I'm going to prep the lips with my favorite Elizabeth Arden 8-Hour Cream, and this is just perfect for hydrating the lips. It's one of my favorite products to use. And to get a little bit of glow on the skin, I'm going to use the By Terry CC Brightening Cream. This is in Sunny Flash. So I'm going to use the CC cream all over the face. And just use my hands just to make sure that that's all absorbed into the skin. And this just gives the skin a glow from within look. And it's super hydrating, nourishing for the skin as well. A little bit on the chin. I'm going to avoid the nose actually. Chanel gets a little bit oily on the nose, so we don't want to create any more oil. Because this look is going to be quite heavy on the eyes, I'm actually going to do the skin last. So I'm going to go in with some eyeliner now and prep the eyes, and I'll do the majority of the eyes first and then we'll go back into the skin at the end. So if you just close your eyes for me, this is a black eyeliner from Mecca Max. So this is a really great eyeliner to use for smoky eyes. It's super creamy and it's really affordable, and it's very black. So it gives you that definition and intensity that you need. And I'm just lifting the eyelid so we get right in between the lashes, so there's no bits of skin that we see through at the end. And I'm then just gonna soften that line and blend upwards. So the tricks to a smoky eye like this is to really get the intensity first with your creamy products rather than using lots of layers of eyeshadow. This will also help make it last all day. These pencils do dry quite quickly, so you want to get in there as much as you can. And then just look up for me, and I'm going to go underneath the eye as well. So just little strokes. Just going to bring your head around this way, that's it, and then just look up. So this look is perfect for a New Year's Eve makeup. It's great for a party makeup, anyone that wants to be really glam. And then I'm going to take the eyeliner straight across the bottom to meet the top section. And there's a little triangle at the corner of the eye. You want to make sure that that triangle is all filled in, and that's the key to getting a really big elongated eye. And then I'm going to go in with one of my favorite little brushes. This is by Real Techniques. This is a dual fiber brush, so it's perfect for using with creams. And then we're going to take it straight across and just slightly wing out this eye, because it is going to be quite a dramatic look. And just look down for me, and then connect the top and the bottom together. And then we're going to do the same on the other eye. So just close for me. Lifting the lid and really wiggling the product into the lash line. and extending out. And once you've mapped out your shape, it really is quite quick to get the rest of the eye on. And soften as you go, making sure that you're blending everything before it sets. Okay, so just look up for me. And again, we're going to go right up close, and I will go in the waterline at the end of this look. We'll do that last. Taking the liner straight across to meet your liner at the top, and making sure you have that little triangle at the outer corner of the eye all filled in. And then we're going to soften. And these liners are so creamy, and I think they're a really good staple to have in your kit when you're starting out. And then look down, and then just matching the top and the bottom again. I'm then just going to take a fluffy brush and just make sure that all those edges are nice and soft. And then just reinforcing anything, actually just close. Just reinforcing anything that you want really dark, like the lash line. This is one of my favorite eye primers. This is by Bare Minerals. This is called Undressed, and this is just a really good nude to use on the eye. And I'm going to use a fluffy brush again. This is a Zoeva Luxe crease brush. And then just do the same on the other eye, bringing it right in to the inner corner. And this area is going to be slightly highlighted. And then just going in with a clean brush in the crease to blend through the eyeliner and the primer. I'm going to go in with my Natasha Denona palette. So I've used this quite a lot in the previous videos, one of my favorites. This is the color Tusk. So this is just a neutral nudie color, and I'm just going to go underneath the brow bone. Okay, so that sets the primer. So now I'm going to go in with this color Buff. So this is going to be our transition color. So you don't want to have black all the way going into the crease. You want to make sure that you've got a nice neutral transition color so everything blends effortlessly into each other. So by using a color that's slightly peachy and warmy, it just gives it that editorial feel. Then going in with the other side and making sure everything's just nice and blended before we go in with our deeper color. So I'm going to take that buff color as well, and I'm just going to go underneath the eye, over the top of the liner as well. And you just want to really soften that edge. And again, it's all about the blending in this look. You need to blend, blend, and then blend some more. I think as a makeup artist, when you're starting out, we tend just to try and get everything done. And by taking the time to really work on your blending, it's just going to help set you apart from the rest. And always keep stepping back and checking your eye just open for me, and making sure that you're even as you go. When you're working with these dark colors, it's much easier to add now that it is to take away. So you want to make sure that your shape is perfect and everything looks awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with this eyeshadow. So this eyeshadow is called Illuminati. This is by MAC Cosmetics. And I'm using a tapered brush by Morphe. And we're gonna go into the crease first. I'm just gonna turn your head there. So making sure that you are really precise in the crease line here. And I'm just starting in the crease rather than starting at the lash line. And this just gives us the ability to get the color in the correct placement and not bring in the eyeshadow too high. With this look, and also with Chanel's eyes, we only have a small amount of space underneath the brow bone. So if you take too much black into that, it's just gonna make the look not polished. Just working in windscreen wiper motions through the crease. And I'm going to repeat that on the other side. And I'm being really gentle here with the brush, and I'm just using that tip. And back and forth. Okay, so just working through the crease, making sure that there's no harsh edges, back and forth. Really take your time to do this, and then connect at the end, and then just open. Gorgeous, you can see the shape was already taking shape. I am then going to use a flat eyeshadow brush and just load up the color. So this has a slight sparkle to it, which I feel really helps when you're doing a black smoky eye. It makes it more modern. Some black smoky eyes can look a little bit vintage if you were just using a matte color. So by having a little bit of sparkle, it just makes it a little bit more fun and modern. And then just soften everything. Be careful when you're doing this not to push the product again too high. You've done all your blending for the crease, so it really just should be now softening those edges. Tapping as well is also really good here, and that stops the product moving too far. I'm going to repeat that on the other side. So just picking up your product, tapping off the excess, and then I'll just bring your head around and then pressing over the eye. Making sure that you get right in to the lash line. If you need to lift up the lid, you can do, just to make sure that there's no gaps. And I'm just patting this on now, making sure that you're not going too high. So all your blending's been done now. So the hard work's done for you. And now it's just building up the intensity with the color. Perfect, and then open. Gorgeous. So I'm going to go underneath the eye now. I'm going to go back in with my Illuminati, and this is a Morphe 508 brush. This is perfect to use underneath the eyes. It just really helps you get right in there, so that's perfect. I'll get Chanel to look up. And then you want to start with this outer corner and get that little triangle reinforced. And this just gives you the best outcome with the smoky eye. Making sure that the top and the bottom eyeshadow is connected. And by looking at it at this angle, I feel like you can really get the shape perfect. Sometimes if you're looking directly at her, you can miss the shape. And by pressing again on the bottom, you've already done a lot of the blending, so everything's nice and soft already with your transition color. And this is just reinforcing what you've already done. It's locking in the liner, making sure it's gonna last all day and all night. I always like to rest my finger on the nose when I'm coming across into the inner eye, and just being really gentle when you're working around the eye, especially when you're doing a black smoky eye. It can take a little bit of time and it's quite intense for your client. So just be guided by her, and if you need to stop for a second, just be respectful. So I'm just reinforcing this little triangle on the outer corner of the eye and making sure that the line is straight across at the bottom. This just gives you the perfect shape when you're doing a black smoky eye. You want to make sure that you get this little corner. It sounds really pedantic, but it just will give you that polished look. Okay, and then bring your head back. That looks amazing. Okay, and just close for me. And I just want to make sure that that's nice and soft. Taking a minute to step back and check your shape. And I'm just going to go into this corner again, just to make sure that it's really dark on the corners. And just open, just look straight ahead. Making sure that you're really happy with your shape before you move on to anything else, because you don't want to be going back into the black once you've done the foundation. So I'm going to go in with this beautiful eyeshadow by Chantecaille. This is in Olive Raffine. I'm using the same brush. So this has a slightly sparkly undertone, and it's just going to really give us a beautiful, fun finish. As you can see, it's really glitzy. It's going to look amazing on camera. And I'm just pressing that over the top. It has undertones of olive in it, so it's really fun for like a party makeup, a New Year's Eve makeup. And just open, and you can see that just picks up the light. Looks gorgeous. And because we're going for that real luxe editorial feel, I don't want to use a different color on the eye. I want everything to be various shades of black. And this shadow, it is a little bit bougie, but it's a really gorgeous product to have in your kit for a treat. And then just open. I'm going to use a tiny bit of this shadow underneath as well, just on the center. And that will just pick up a little bit of sparkle. I don't want to go all the way underneath with this because it is quite dramatic. So just by using it in the middle of the eye, it's just going to give you a really fun pop of sparkle. And you can see there is quite a bit of fallout, so I'm going to clean that all up in a second. And just look up and just making sure that all your edges nice and soft. I'm gonna just use a little bit of the moisturizer that I prepped Chanel's skin with, just to remove the fallout. So you'll see that there is quite a lot there, which is usual when you're doing smoky eyes, especially when there's glittery products involved. And by using your moisturizer to remove the fallout rather than toner, it's gonna keep the eye area nice and hydrated underneath. If you went in with toner, then you're gonna lose a little bit of that skin texture. You can also use a little bit to clean up the shape if you want a little bit more drama at the outer corners. And you can also use the cotton buds just to, just turn your head, just to carve out that shape at the outer corner if you feel like you need to clean it up a little bit. I don't want that ends to be super sharp. It's all nice, smooth contours. Okay, cool. So I'm happy now. We've got all the fallout, and we're gonna go in with some foundation. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with the Giorgio Armani Lasting Silk Foundation. This is a great foundation to use if you want that sheer finish, but you also need it to be long lasting. So I'm mixing together on my palette number 4 and number 7. And I'm just gonna start in the center of the face. This is a new brush by Hourglass. It's actually a concealer brush, but I love it for foundation because you can be really specific in where you're placing the product. And I want to be slightly lighter on the inside of the face, and then we're going to do some contouring on the outer corners. But again, we want that skin to be the feature as well, so I don't want to cover up Chanel's beautiful freckles. I feel like if we were going to do a heavy skin with a heavy eye, it just takes away from that editorial feel. Okay, so just making sure that you've got everything covered. I'm going to go in with a flat top buffing brush now and just making sure that everything is even and blended. Using that darker color on the outside of the face. Also getting the ears, making sure that all your skin has product on. It's really important, especially if your client's wearing an off-the-shoulder dress, that you do have a look at the skin and make sure that it's all even. Just mixing together a little bit more for around the nose and any other areas that you need to add a little bit more product. And you can also shape around the brow. Just be really careful not to use too much product in the brow. Just shape around and just look up. I'm going to use concealer, but I'm just going to make sure that we're all blended underneath the eye. Gorgeous. So I'm using my Fenty Beauty concealers today, 220 and 160. And one has a slightly more pinky undertone and the other one is slightly more yellowy, and it just helps to lift up the eyes. If you're using a pinky color underneath the eyes, it just really helps to brighten underneath. And I'm going to use my Real Techniques brush, and again, just mixing the colors as you go. And just taking that underneath. I find that these concealers are just so versatile. You can use them on so many different skin types and they just look great on the skin. Just pressing that under, and again you can use the concealer now just to make sure that all your edges are perfect. And I will go underneath again with my transition color just to blend in the concealer and the eyeshadow. Also taking it up into the inner corners and any other areas that you need a little bit of extra coverage. Okay, so I'm using the Mecca Max Brow Guru in medium. So this is quite a warm color, but I don't want the brows to be too dark. Chanel's got nice dark brows anyway. So we just want to fill in the gaps. I'm just going to go up through the brow, and by using a slightly warmer color, you just get a more natural finish. And just combing through as you go. Being really light-handed at the inside of the brow. And just do lots of nice feathery strokes. Just turn around here. So I'm just going to extend the brow just slightly, just so it comes to the end of where our eyeshadow finishes. And again, just take your time to get that all in place. I always brush as I go just to soften it. You don't want to see any harsh lines in the brow. And you can make it a little bit more defined on the top and then use her natural brow hairs underneath to keep it nice and natural looking. Okay, so I'm just working on the other side of the brow. Again, I'm just doing really small strokes, making sure that the end of the brow where we have a little bit less hair, a little bit more sparse, is all filled in. And using that nice warm tone just makes it look nice and effortless. So just going underneath the eyebrow just to fill in any little gaps in the brow, and then just pushing through really, really lightly at the start of the brow. So I'm going to do a little bit of contouring now. This is the Westman Atelier Contour Stick in Biscuit. So I'm just going to turn your head. So this is a really cool toned contour, which is perfect for Chanel's skin because she's got a nice, beautiful olive skin. And I'm just going to use this dual fiber brush by MAC. And it just gets right into that crease there underneath the cheekbone. And I'm going to do a little tiny bit on the head. Come around. And bring your cheek around here. I feel like you just need to use a little tiny bit of these. You don't want to have too much coolness on the skin. This will just really help to create a little bit of depth under the cheekbone. And then I'm just going to blend it out so it's all seamless. And then turn your head. So this is one of my favorite products. I've used this a few times already. This is the Color Convertibles by Stila in Peony. These are just beautiful colors to use on the skin. And I'm actually just gonna go in with my foundation brush, and it just helps cut your time down if you can use a larger brush. And just press it over the cheeks. And the residue that you have already on your brush will just help polish the skin as well, and it just helps everything blend in. Just turn again. And once you have that color on the skin, I feel like the look just comes together. It's quite a dark eye, so if you don't have any color on the cheeks, it can look quite stark. Okay, so I'm loving the skin so far. We can still see the beautiful freckles, but we've added that pop of color onto the cheeks, so everything's really coming together now. I'm going to use a little bit of highlighter. This is the Becca Cosmetics Skin Perfecting Primer in Opal. So we're just going over the cheekbones, and again, we've just got the residue from our foundation on the brush already, so that just helps to tie everything in and you get a seamless blend. Now just turn your head around this way. Just going over the cheekbone. So this has a warm undertone. The Opal is perfect for more olivey, warmer skin tones. It just gives you that nice goldy finish. And I might go over this again at the end. So I'm going to put some lashes on now. So Chanel's had a lash lift, so her lashes are a little bit curly, which makes it a little bit tricky to put individuals on. So what I've done, these lashes are by Model Rock. These are called Kitty. So they're a full lash, but they're really wispy at the ends, which is perfect when you're doing black smoky eye because you can still see the black eyeshadow underneath it. You don't want to have a solid lash, otherwise it's just going to block out all that beautiful blending that you've done. So I've cut these lashes into 3 again, just because it makes it easier to apply over the top of someone that's had a lash lift. And we're just going to go right at the ends first, and get your model to keep her eyes open, and then just look at me, gorgeous, and look down. And I find this is a really quick way to get a lash on as well. Okay, so going in with the middle lash now, and you can actually use the curve of the lash to push down the natural lashes, and that way you get right to the base. You don't want to have any of those little lashes poking through. I find individuals just pretty much impossible to get on with a lash lift. Just look straight ahead, gorgeous. And the full lash will just add that little bit of extra drama as well. So I've just snipped the inside lash off because we don't want to use the whole strip. And just look down and look out that way a bit, and that's it. And just lift the lid. Okay, and then look straight ahead, gorgeous. Coming on to the other side. So lift the lid, push the lashes down and wriggle that right into the base. And once your lashes are on, it just brings everything together, and you can just see the shape of the eye. Make sure that everything's looking exactly how you want it. And you can just go in at the end and perfect the eye shape if you feel you need to. And I'm using the black duo glue for this look as well because we want it to be really dark at the lashes. And I'm just using the edge of my tweezer and supporting the lash underneath, and then just pressing it over, and that just locks everything in. Okay, so I'm just gonna lift the lid and then same again, push the natural lashes down and get that right in to the inner corner. And look straight ahead. So I'm just going into the lash and just making sure they're in the right position. You can use the tweezers just to push the lashes down a little bit. With lash lifts, when you apply false lashes, the lashes do have a tendency to flick up. So just make sure that they're all in place. And just look straight ahead, perfect. If you need to go back in with any shadow, just make sure that you hold the tissue underneath. So I'm just gonna put a little tiny bit more. Just look up, just under there. This is the Illuminati color by MAC. Okay, just look up again. So just reinforcing that color underneath, making sure that all your lines are perfectly blended. And then just look down that way. I'm just gonna go on the inside as well. And then this way. Straight ahead, gorgeous, and then look up. Okay, so I'm going back in with my Mecca Max eyeliner, and we're just going to line the inside of the eye. So I'm just using a tissue just to pull down the eyelid a little bit and just go into the eye and then just come out, making sure that you're not overwhelming the eye. And you just tell your client just to keep blinking as they go. And then when you get into the inner corners of the eye, if you just say, look the other way, and then you can use the tissue just to flip down the bottom lid, making sure that's really black in there. And just look up again. Cool, and then look down, and then I'm just gonna tight line as well. So I'm just gonna go lift up the lid a little bit and then just go right underneath, making sure that's all nice and dark. Going back in with my Natasha Denona palette, I'm going to use a little bit of highlight on the inner corner. This is the color Monroe. I'm actually going to mix it with this goldy color as well, which is Shine. And we're just going to go on the inner corner just for a pop. So these pigments are really quite shimmery, so a little bit goes a long way. So you really just need a tiny amount and just make sure that it's really nicely blended. And then just ask your client to close their eyes and just blend in the inner corner highlight into a little bit of the black, just so it's nice and seamless. And then just open, gorgeous. So I'm going to set the skin now. This is the Laura Mercier translucent powder, using a nice fluffy brush. And I just want to really just touch on those high points. We want to keep the skin nice and fresh and dewy. So it's just to remove any excess shine around the T-zone. Really minimal powder. And you can just use this under the eyes just to flick away anything else that's fallen. Okay, so just look up for me. So I've just got a little bit of mascara here on my little wand, and I'm just going into the bottom lash line and the bottom lashes. Look down. Just coating just the very ends, just to blend the natural lash in with the falsies. And that just gives you that beautiful silhouette when you turn your head to the side. Look down. Just support the back of the lash, lift it up, and then press them together. And this is my Kevyn Aucoin mascara. Gorgeous. And then for brows, I'm using just a clear mascara by Collection, which is a UK brand. And I'm just gonna go through the brows. I'm gonna flick them up so it gives you that editorial feel. And they've already got the color in them, so just by brushing them up, lifts the skin, lifts the face, pulls everything together. We love a nice fluffy brow. Okay, gorgeous. So this is the Kevyn Aucoin Contour Book, and I'm just going to use this blush. This blush is beautiful on brunettes. It has quite a pinky tone to it, but when you've got quite a heavy eye, it's really nice just to have a little bit of color on the skin. Just turn your head this way, that's it. And I'm using the same brush that I use for powder. Again, I like to use the same brushes when applying the makeup on the skin because it just helps to blend everything in. And then turn back around. My goodness, it's all coming together now. So for lips, I'm just using Pat McGrath lip liner. This is in the color Buff. These are beautiful. I've used these lip liners before. They're so creamy, they're waterproof. And I'm filling the lip in as I always do. Okay, so just really concentrating on tracing out the lip. And I like to use a little puff just to support the lip. You can also use it to drag down the lip a little bit, and it just helps to open out the mouth. I'll just turn your head around there, and that's it. And you can just really get into the inner corners. And these are so creamy. And I'm going to do the top little strokes. And I'm just catching the edge of the lip line. So I'm not overlining, just catching the edge, just to give the appearance of a slightly fuller lip. And then bring your head back around this way. And the Cupid's bow. And I find with these liners, they don't drag the lip, so they're so easy to use, and they are worth the investment. Perfect. This is another one of my favorite lip glosses to use. It's like a lip gloss lipstick. So it's by Hourglass. It's in the color Unreal, and it's just that perfect cool girl nude. So it's not matte finish, it's nice and creamy, which I find is just much more flattering on the lips. And I'm using my Shuamera lip brush. And again, this is an investment brush. They last forever, but I find when doing lips, they really do just help you do the work. So you can flip the brush around and just catch the Cupid's bow, and then flip it around to the other side, and you can catch the other side. And then you can use a straight edge just to perfect the corners. And then just support the skin if you need to. And then just bring your head down. And the best position for your client to have her lips is exactly what Chanel's doing now. It's just natural lips. Sometimes I try and move the lips in all sorts of funny positions, but just natural lips is perfect. Gorgeous. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to do is just a little bit of bronzer just to finish off the skin. So this is my Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. This is a beautiful bronze color. It's in between a cool tone and a warm tone, so I find it's perfect for helping to contour and shape the face as well as adding color. So I'm just going to I'll just bring your head right around, and we're just going to reinforce the contour that we did. So this is a crown brush. Again, I make the brush work for me. I just use the contour of the brush and just pat it on over the skin. And that just gives us a little bit more color on the cheeks. Gorgeous. Going back in. And always tapping off the excess before you do anything on the skin. So I'm taking that all the way to the hairline so there's no harsh edges. So the final step is I'm just going to reinforce our beautiful highlights. If you just turn your head to the side so we can see. So I'm using my Kevyn Aucoin contour kit again, and this is in the color Flash. So this is pretty much a similar color to the Becca that we used originally. And this is just going to lock in that highlighter and just create that little bit of extra drama. This is a really dramatic look. So I'm really happy with this look. This is your super sparkly black smoky eye.